when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing. Getting with the coverage, we loving it all day. Picking up the news, tell us wherever the ball lay. With the NFL, NBA, they box so. Sports news in the hands of a man with fair takes. Tell them, coach, statistics and realness that's being spoke. Either headed for the win or they hitting the goalposts. Either way, we woke up to the news of the day. Any kid he could call it, he like to talk it out with Ray. Fast breaks down the lane, they better move out the way, or they pulling from perimeter. Curry bury the trade, yeah they got it. Woo! Duval with the hottest, Chris and Dev like the master, and mix it up like it's Logic being modest. They been looking for that real, trying to get it feel. Sports podcast, they run it back on the real. That's a steal, yeah. They never sick, but they ill. Real sports talk going, deliver signed and sealed. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing.
You're muted. Well, while Ray is muted, welcome to another episode of Real Talk. We'll try to get these things. As we get, we got some technical difficulties tonight. Intro is lagging. We got no sound.
I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right. I don't know. They said my mic got disconnected, then the thing wouldn't stop running. Like, you don't know. They ain't trying to let me be great tonight. My bad. All right. We good to go now. We good to go. Coach, how you feeling? We got football tonight. I have not had a chance to really catch up on it. Who's winning right now? Do you have it up?
Yeah, Green Bay's up 3-0.
So it's one of those kind of games.
Yeah, it's been a little sloppy. Las Vegas offensive line is looking really suspect because Garoppolo hasn't had a whole lot of time to throw.
Okay. And also, just for those who care, preseason basketball is upon us. Golden State got a dub the other night. Always good to see. San Antonio playing Oklahoma City tonight. Wemby versus Chet Holmgren for your viewing pleasure on NBA TV as well. So, basketball is back. Football is great. Like, I get it. Football is America's game or whatever, but for me, basketball season is where things really get great. But yeah, let's get into you said the Packers Raiders. I guess I'll start with this question for you so far. Jordan Love, do you think the Packers are happy with what they got? Do you think they a little bit more to be desired? What do you think he's at, or where they have him based on how long he's sat?
I think they're okay with him right now. I think they recognized and realized that there was going to be some growing pains. And I think that's just, where things are right now. I think he's shown that he has some skill. He's shown he has the arm, showed he has legs. Like he broke off a big throw for about, not a big throw, but a big run. A couple of drives ago, about a 20-something yard run, and you can see that he's got the wheels. But I think that the next step is in terms of him being able to improve his accuracy. That's really the biggest issue right now. But I think again that has a lot to do with inexperience, and he's kind of learning on the job, because I don't care how much you watch film or how much you take a mental reps on the sideline, until you get on that field. Some things you're just not going to, be able to know what to do until you're actually experiencing it on the field. So I just think it's it's some growing pains going on, but I do think that he's going to be a good quarterback, and I think that they're okay with him moving forward.
Okay. Not. I will say he's been inconsistent for me as someone who's been
Right.
following him. And I've I didn't buy into the start of the season. He came out great. Then I started to buy in, and then he kind of regressed. And then I was like, I'm out. And then he's like played better. So I definitely think it's going to be kind of a growing process. I do see a touchdown to scored. It looks like by the Vegas Raiders. But for whatever reason, my
That
system is not
God
connecting. So
dog that was not that was not Devontae, who I got in fantasy, so I'm not happy
is
about
he
that.
playing?
He is. He got one
Okay.
catch for 12 yards so far.
I'm not too
So that's
worried.
a check.
Not great. But I think typically Devontae is going to get his targets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think it'll work itself out. But let's get to NFL. I actually let me see real quick. I don't know who you had. Who'd you pick for the night's game? I got Chris's pick. I don't have your pick.
We didn't. Oh, I didn't.
We didn't do this game.
Shoot, who do I have?
Well, I have Chris down.
No,
Maybe
we
he
didn't
just
do.
sent
I
it
don't
in.
think we did this game, but yeah, maybe he did. What am I going with? I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I just don't. I'm not sure about the Raiders. I'm questioning. I have questions about Josh McDaniel as a head coach. And Garoppolo is he's been struggling, trying to I guess ingratiate himself in the new system. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay.
Okay. I'm torn. I think Vegas should be good. For whatever reason, they haven't been. Not up to the standard that they should be in a division that isn't maybe as good as we thought. Green Bay, I'm not sure. Week to week, I don't know who I'm going to get. Jimmy G historically is a winner. So I'm not sure. I forget who I did pick, but I'm going to go Vegas. I'm going to go Vegas. I was trying to log into my internet is just tripping. I hope I'm coming through clear, but
You are
at least
so
pull us.
far.
All right. So, yeah. So I don't know. I can't pull anything up to check it, but I think I went Vegas. If not, then so be it. Quick update for y'all. I do have this for this week, not counting this week's game. With Dev's picks, he's at 19-12. Kenny, you went 7-6. Chris is 28-14, and I am also 28-14. Chris had a really good week. He was like 10-3 or something. Like he did really good. Me and you, I think we're both 7-6, and Dev was 6-7 going into tonight's game. So tough week. We'll get into some of those games, but based on what we've seen so far, obviously our group chat, we've had some, let's say, discord about whose teams we think are better than others. But I think it's safe to say that none of the teams represented on this show will fall into this category. But I do want to start with you. At this point, who do you think is the worst team in the NFL? Or let's split it in the NFC and the AFC.
Okay. So for the AFC, it's New England. Yeah, New England. I just think that, and we talked about this over the summer, that it's just a lack of talent, especially on that offensive side of the ball. That I just don't see how they're going to be competitive. How they're going to be competitive this year. So um, I think New England is the worst team in the AFC. Denver, probably, I guess you could make a case for Denver, but these last 2 weeks would kind of sealed it for me because these last 2 weeks they've gotten beat by 30. So that's why I'm putting them over Denver. In terms of the NFC, uh, I'm
It's a lot of
not
bad teams.
sure. Carolina. Yeah,
Mike, that's not
Carolina.
true. That's
Uh,
not true. Surprise. Always.
hey, Mike, chill out. As happy as you are,
At 1 and
about your
4.
Bears, your Cubs just got sent home. So calm down, buddy.
Just like the Nats. Go figure that.
Yeah. So yeah, Carolina is the worst team. Carolina's the worst team in the NFC. They just got another same thing, lack of talent. Also a young quarterback. So that's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah, Carolina is my team the worst team in the AFC in the NFC. So
Mike, y'all can beat the
Carolina and New
Vikings.
England.
Don't give up hope. Shoot higher, but I understand. I'm with Carolina. So my first question before I go is: so if you're saying Carolina is the worst with the new quarterback, based on the quarterback disaster they had last year, like, did they miss? Should they be looking back to go back into the draft? And Bryce Young might need to talk to a realtor. Like, what are we thinking with Carolina? If Caleb Williams, Shedeur Sanders, and some of these other kids are sitting there, are you?
The kid from South Carolina. I forgot his name.
Are you? Miles Sanders has looked decent, but that's
Not
about
South Carolina, North Carolina. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. But yeah, your thoughts.
No, I think that they just need to get some talent around him. I think he's in the same boat as Mac Jones, in that they don't have any real skill talent around him. Because you think about it, they traded DJ Moore, who was their best wide receiver. So Miles Sanders, but in terms
snap! Why is that? What trade
that was for
caused
that deal? The trade for the number one pick. When Carolina traded
up. That's right.
Yeah. So
I forgot.
yeah. So as it stands right now, the Bears have the 1 and the 2 pick as it stands right now.
And won't take a quarterback with either one.
Exactly, which is crazy.
Unless, hey, Mike, send them to us. Okay,
it could be.
If y'all don't want a quarterback, we'll take them.
They could be in business though. They could, they could be in business for that to package those picks and move down to maybe bring in a little more talent to build around Justin Fields. So those picks may not necessarily mean.
Hey, DJ Moore looks like a great pickup.
And if they do, you don't think that they would. Oh yeah, no question. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because as of right now, I think Chicago is going to. I think they have a chance to be better. They've played better over the last 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks,
Justin Fields looked great the last 2 weeks.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that I think they have a chance to be better, and I think that they may not wind up with that worst record, but Carolina seems like they're on track to have that. Excuse me, to be the worst team in the league. So, which is bad, to not have your first round pick. So,
hey, Mike Hughes, Chase Young might be available. I'm just saying. Mike Hughes, Chase Young might be available. So, I'm willing to entertain some things for the right price. I am going to agree with you on Carolina. They look terrible. I think the Giants have been a bigger disappointment, but Carolina's a worse team. When I think of the biggest disappointments in the NFC, I got to start with Minnesota and Carolina. And worst team definitely is Carolina. AFC wise, I feel like disappointing and worst is synonymous in this situation. But I have the same 2 teams you have, with the Bengals getting off the mat last week. I am going to go New England because I think they're farther away. I think both New England and Denver might be in situations where their coaches have lost their fastball, their greatness, their genius, whether it be offensively or defensively, is gone. Their player management will be to be determined, but you could have got off Russell Wilson this summer and you didn't. Now, if they're tanking, which could totally be true, and if I'm Colorado,
possibility.
And if I'm Colorado, and there's a guy in Colorado that's playing pretty well,
yeah,
it might be worth a conversation. I mean, minority guy, his dad will still be close. I could see a scenario where they're incentivized to.
They want to, but will they want to be a package deal?
Now, if I'm Sean Payton, I'm not signing up for that. Because that means I'm jobless. But if I'm Sean Payton, I think the difference from Coach Belichick is I can sell, hey, y'all gave me this quarterback I didn't want. You give me a guy I can work with, I can Drew Brees it. Belichick, I don't think has that luxury. You had the quarterback. You've had a couple. And maybe the reason he still has the job is because he's still hanging on to, hey, if you let me keep Jimmy G, then we might be in a better position versus forcing me to pick Mac Jones. But Jimmy G still 1-3 right now.
But nobody forced him to pick Mac Jones. He chose to pick Mac Jones.
I mean,
that's on him.
I had a quarterback in place and I had to give him away, so I then had to go get one. So I chose Mac, even though I would have rather have had Jimmy, is my point. Not that he had to pick him because he didn't. But they did need a quarterback in that draft.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So from a timing perspective, he kind of had to pick Mac Jones. And Mac fell to him. So it was thought to be a potential win. But yeah.
Got it.
I will also say Belichick is shrewd enough, and this is where it gets tricky. If I'm Caleb Williams and I can have an opportunity to play in New England, do you want that? His list of teams did not include the Patriots, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunities, but this NIL thing seems to be changing the game a lot more than maybe I anticipated.
It is.
I didn't think
Jordan Love just threw a terrible interception.
Did he? I'm pretty far behind, I think.
I mean, terrible.
I keep getting this stinking Jeep commercial or Safford or Fredericksburg car commercial, so I'm not sure what's going on. My thing might be in a loop.
Yeah.
I might be in the matrix. It's just the same commercial you keep playing over and over.
Yeah, the linebacker was literally just standing there, literally, where he threw the ball. So it was just awful interception. Well, he didn't just throw it. I'm a little behind too. So
I'm at the 2-minute warning. What are you at?
Okay. Well, I backed up to see the interception, so I'm trying to catch back up live.
Okay, cool. Quick update I want to give everybody, just because, like I said, we are a multi-sport show, and it is preseason basketball. So the Knicks and Celtics are going at it tonight. Currently 80-80 for what it's worth. Nobody's really playing, and that. Oh no, y'all played some players. Mitchell Robinson got 23 minutes. RJ Barrett 16.
Right.
Julius Randle got about a quarter. They all look good. Good numbers. Quickly.
Yeah, that's
20 minutes.
Yeah.
I forgot y'all got DiVincenzo. That's a nice little pickup.
I liked him in college, so we're turning into the Villanova Knicks.
Oh man. Well, that is true. You got 2 out of the 3.
Actually 4. Dianaco, however you say his name.
Archie Dion.
Yeah. Too. Yeah. But I don't know if he's gonna make the team though.
Yeah, I see it's a long roster there. Wemby versus Oh, it's Spurs Thunder is 81-74 at halftime. So not a ton of defense. Wemby at 18, 3 and no assists. 7 of 9, 2 of 3 from 3. Solid night there. Chet 21 and 9 on 16 minutes.
Yeah,
Giddy
I
and
think he's
Dort.
good. And you know what happens though, a lot of times too, is that it's an advantage for these guys to, it's almost like a redshirt year. We see when they sit out their rookie year, it's an advantage to them because a lot of them come back and they're bigger and they're stronger and they're even more prepared and ready to play that second year as opposed to that first year, from sitting out.
I will
You think
also
about
update
Ben
everybody.
Simmons and then a bunch of guys like that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what kind of sparked it. I pulled up the Nets are playing the Lakers. Ben Simmons currently 5 points in 6 minutes. 5 points, 2 of 2 shooting, and a rebound and an assist. So maybe all the talk over the summer for Ben might be real.
Yeah, and it's 10-3, 10-3, 10-3 Vegas.
Yeah, I got
I
they
have.
just punted.
Hold on.
I got 55 seconds left. They just punted. D'Angelo Russell having a big night also. Okay.
Yeah. Never over here.
All right, so let's get into it. We do got to go to the best. So we definitely talked about the worst. I think we covered that. I went Patriots and Panthers, but there's a conversation we had about the best. I think in the NFC side, it's definitely a 2-team race, in my opinion. But
for sure, agreed.
I will defer to you and let you jump out the window on which. Actually, it could be a 3-team if you really want to get froggy. I think it's 2. But who do you take in as the best team in the NFC right now?
Well, I gotta go San Francisco, especially after the way they beat our behinds. Shoot. But I just think that and the other reason too is that Philly, while they are 5-0, they haven't really been I guess crisp, for lack of a better word. Like it hasn't been you know what I mean? It hasn't been an impressive in terms of the two teams. In terms of being 5-0, I think San Francisco has been a lot more impressive with their 5-0. Like I think Philly has been inconsistent in terms of their play. So going to overtime with you guys, it took them a minute to get it together against the Giants, who's a really bad team. They wound up not pulling away from them until the second half. So I just think that they haven't really, clicked on all cylinders just yet. God bless you. That's why I'm picking San Francisco, and I just think San Francisco is a little more. Also, I think they're a little more complete as well because I think with their running game, I think that gives them a little bit of an advantage. Although Jalen Hurts kind of is the X factor that kind of evens that out, but just the way McCaffrey's has been playing. Although we limited him last night, but it didn't really make a difference. But yeah, I think San Francisco is the better team, and I had my questions about Brock Purdy. I wanted to see. Remember, I said on Thursday, I said he was due for a game where he would struggle, and it didn't happen, and it still hasn't happened. This guy hasn't even thrown an interception yet this season. So I think we gotta. I think we gotta go ahead and give it up. Well, I gotta go ahead and give it up to Brock Purdy that he's legit, and he's proven that this is no fluke. That he's the real deal. And San Francisco, to me, is the team to beat right now in the NFC.
I'm glad you got the Brock Purdy because in this conversation, I wanted to discuss him a little bit more. I too had my doubts. I was a guy that said keep Trey Lance. I liked him. I thought he had an opportunity. Devontae Adams, 1 target tonight. Shout out to him. I really needed you tonight, and you are not helping.
You and me both.
But I ask two questions. One, how much of this is Purdy a system quarterback, and how much is him? Like, if you switched Hurts and Purdy, do you think you get the same thing in both destinations, or is one guy being carried by his team more than the other, in your opinion?
Well, I think Hurts is more talented than Purdy without question. You know, especially in terms of arm talent and legs. So that's better. But while I do think that some of it is a system, but I was watching a game last night, man, and he was dropping some dimes. The one pass that he threw, I was really impressed where he threw, over the middle, threw it over the linebacker, threw it over Van Der Esch, threw it over his head and dropped it right in the bucket. He made some nice throws downfield. So I don't think he has the, and he'll say it himself that he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world. But I think that he does possess the time, or rather the anticipation, as well as the ability to, they say the ability to process information in terms of being decisive and where he goes with the ball. So while I do think that it is somewhat a product of the system, at the end of the day, I do think that he has a skill set and a talent that makes him able to do what he's doing.
Okay. No, I'm in a similar boat. I think the guy's all right. I'll be honest. I think he's a solid quarterback. I definitely think the system and the weapons help. I think he's put in a position where he is successful. He hasn't had to dig himself out of a lot of holes or anything like that. So as long as things are on schedule, he's performing well. I will be curious to see if he ever struggles or has who was it this weekend that had some early interceptions and had to overcome it? I forget who it was, but dang, I wish I could remember. But being able to overcome early turnovers, things like that, and bringing your team back, I think is important. So haven't really had to see him do that. I would like to see that definitely before the playoffs. But right now they are rolling. And I think he's all right.
Honestly, I think that's really the only question that we have left is he able to lead his team? Is he able to lead his team to a comeback, or be down 2 scores, be down a score, be down 2 scores, and lead his team to a victory? Right now, they've been, the San Fran has been playing ahead pretty much the entire season. I think the only game where it was kind of close, I think, was Arizona. But other than that, they've pretty much been playing ahead and they've been playing with the lead the entire time. So I think that's the only test that he has left to really pass.
Yeah, agreed. Quick update: Jimmy G is driving, running a nice 2-minute offense. 3 with 15 seconds left. So Vegas trying to do a little something here. So we'll see kind of how they finish this out as they keep going. AFC wise, I am a little unsure on the AFC side. AFC is a little trickier for me.
Toss up for me.
I thought I had a team, and then Buffalo made them look bad a week ago, and then Buffalo did what Buffalo did this past week, and on top of the loss at the start of the year to the Jets. So concerns there. Kansas City has not looked dominant, but they are 4-1. But for me, if I have to choose, I'm going to go with Miami. I still think they are the best team in the AFC. I think Buffalo got them coming off a high, and I just think the talent, the speed, when healthy, makes Miami the best team. So Miami right now is who I have for the best team in the the AFC. And who you got?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It definitely is between Kansas City and in Miami, and I just think to your point about the offensive weapons that they have and the speed that they have, not only outside but also with those two running backs, or that two-headed monster at running back. Although uh, I think a chain, or however you say his name, got hurt this past game, so I think I saw something where he may be out for a few weeks, but hurt his knee. I think it is. I think was what happened.
Yeah,
But
I was reading that as well.
nevertheless, yeah, but nevertheless, still, again, they got that two-headed monster because Mostert is just as dangerous. And maybe, may not, if he may not be as fast, he's still plenty fast in his own right. So I just think that their offensive weapons. Now, I will say, I think Kansas City's defense is better uh, than Miami's, but I just think that the Miami's offensive advantage just over. I think that their offense is vastly better than Kansas City because to me, it's Kansas City's offense is Travis Kelsey and everybody else. Like if you are able to somehow take away Travis Kelsey, then they struggle to really move the ball. Which what we saw in week one versus Detroit when he wasn't there, they really struggled to move the ball. So I just think that I think Miami is the better team all around, and just off, like I said, offensively, and that's what they say, speed kills. So the fact of the matter is, they have the fastest team in in the NFL, and I don't think it's even close.
Okay, cool. I definitely agree on the offensive side. Miami's offense is putting up those numbers that we haven't really seen before from a yardage standpoint, points, explosiveness. Like it's just fun to watch. I didn't even know who A Chain
Certainly,
was, and
me either.
then somehow they found him, and boy, does he fit pretty good with exactly what they have going. So I was able to grab him in fantasy in a couple leagues. Hopefully, he's all right. I know they said it was a knee injury that he's working through, so hopefully he's good in regards to that. For you guys, Van Der Esch, I didn't realize he got hurt. They say he could be out 4 to 6 weeks, which is obviously not ideal for you guys in that defense. So injuries starting to kind of pile up for some teams. And
I'm
another
down
one,
on him anyway. So
he was looking good last night. I thought he was playing well, considering, obviously. But it looks like Jets lose their top O lineman, Vera Tucker, for the season. Justin Jefferson is out with a hamstring. We saw that. Richardson, I've been trying to play him, but the man gets hurt every week because he, as big as he is, he can't really take hits, apparently. So a lot of injuries out there.
slide,
So
bro.
got to.
Gotta slide.
So prayers out to all those involved. But let's get into it. We got picks, we got reviews, we got takeaways. Dev, conveniently not here.
You always calling people out because they miss shows after their team lost. You're hilarious.
I just feel like it's convenient. I stood here while the Bears did what they did, and I took it.
You did.
Somehow,
You did.
Eagles fans always
did.
disappear. Sixers fans always disappear when they lose. Ravens fans disappear when they lose. And I appreciate you being here. You weren't here after the Cardinals game, but that's okay. You're here today. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a terrible interception. What was you looking at? Man, I'm right in the chest. So yeah, that's all. But Ravens, let's talk about it because I got a lot to say. I do really, really echo what I think it was Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Red zone's amazing. Like they make it really difficult to watch because of NFL Plus, and they keep trying to shove that down my throat. Pause. But red zone's great. And Lamar Jackson was not. I know some people in the group chat was putting that on other people. Zay Flowers has been good every time I've seen him.
Yeah, but 8 drops is a lot of drops.
8 drops is a lot. But I feel like this season, like I picked Lamar to win MVP. I thought he was going to have that kind of year. And I'm not saying that he's not running like he used to for whatever reason, and I'm not mad at that, but there was that last game, you shouldn't lose that game. And in any other scenario, those games fall on the quarterback. You don't 10 points on Pittsburgh's defense. That defense is not that good. 10 points is unacceptable. And so for me, it was pretty disappointing. I did appreciate who's the receiver? George Pickens came through. Kenny Pickett came through fantasy-wise because it was looking a little rough in one of my leagues. Fantasy's been tough this year. Real average for me across most of my leagues. But Kenny Pickett ended up giving me 19. This same team, I started Saquon, I just forgot about Yahoo. So that got me 0, but still we rise there. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the game. Shout out to Pittsburgh, great division win. Big home win keeps them definitely within striking distance. And that division, it looks like it's going to be more and more competitive once Deshaun gets back, since he might be starting to hit their stride. What's his name? Jamar Chase said he's always open, and boy, did he look open yesterday. So it's getting good in the AFC North, getting good. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that was one of the picks I got right in terms of Cincinnati. I'm glad to see that it looks like that Joe Burrow is starting to get healthy, because I don't think there's any chance that they are able to turn the season around if he's not healthy. So, that was an important win, I think, for them. But like I said, with the Ravens, while Lamar did, you could say that he struggled or didn't get the job done. It's hard to win when you got guys dropping 8 passes. Like, that's a lot of drops. So that's why, when we was talking in the chat, I can't really totally put it on him. But having said that, scoring 10 points ain't going to get it. So, they're going to have to make some adjustments. And I think the other thing is that's hurting them is that the lack of their running game and them losing, his name escapes me, to the tore his Achilles in week 1. Yeah, Dobbins, losing J.K. Dobbins, I think, is a huge loss for them because that kind of gave them some balance. So I think that the fact that their running game hasn't been clicking the way that it would have been with Dobbins not being there, I think that's part of the issue. And then also OBJ being in and out of the lineup too, they haven't been able to really get a rhythm in terms of their skill position, in terms of their wide receiving course. Like you said, Zay Flowers has been the bright spot, and then of course Mark Andrews. He's been pretty consistent, but I just think that they haven't clicked yet totally. I think they're kind of in the same boat as Philly, to be honest with you, in terms of like offensively, they haven't really clicked and been able to really find that rhythm to be, consistently productive. So I think that while they're struggling now, I think at some point that they will be better. But that was a great win for Pittsburgh. And, of course, every time you try to count out Pittsburgh, this is what they do. They respond in weeks like this and pull out a game that you don't expect them to win. So it's just a credit to Mike Tomlin and, just how great of a coach that he is that they always find a way to pull out games where you don't expect them to. And so I just think that this division is going to go down to the wire. I think this has always been a competitive division because I think Cleveland's going to have something to say too. Because even though losing Nick Chubb was a big loss, I still think that picking up Kareem Hunt is going to help them, and I think they're going to have something to say. So I think this thing could go all the way down to the last week of the season. So, and I don't know who's going to wind up on top.
Yeah, for sure. But as everybody can see, we do have a special guest here, Mike Hughes, high off a big game on Thursday that brought them to a whopping 1-4 on the season. Mike, to what do we owe the pleasure?
God is good, you know. I just won the Super Bowl. Coming off a high, man. I'm living, dog. I will say, 2-3 sounds a lot better than 1-4. I'm still upset about that Broncos game because you said it in the chat earlier, going against Minnesota, if we were 2-3, then possibility of being 500, that would have been everything. So I'm still upset about how the season's gone. But a win is a win. A win is a win. It was my first one in 346 days. I don't care what it was. I'll take it.
So, Mike, you and I
are headed in the right direction.
I was about to say y'all are in similar boats. Go ahead.
No, I was just asking, Mike. Do you think that the team is? Do you think that you guys are headed in the right direction offensively? Do you feel good about where you guys are headed?
No, not at all. That was fun. I had a great 2 weeks. Ray going like that, I'll make it make sense. Justin Fields is great. Justin Fields is great at what he does. Something I think he has an issue with, and something that the coaching staff I think has an issue when it comes to play calling. If you watch the first 3 weeks, you saw a lot of screen passes. You saw a lot less of DJ Moore, and you saw a lot less of explosiveness and really getting the ball down the field. OSU, we know OSU in college football as a whole, you get about 6 to 10 yards at universities like that of separation for a quarterback and a wide receiver. And that's great. But in the NFL, it's a game of inches, and you get that window of just a couple inches. And I think sometimes Justin's afraid of making that play. And when you play against Washington, which Washington ain't no scrubs either, but they just didn't play their best ball. And I gave Ray his flowers on that with the Philly game. I was not going into that game confident at all. But I think when you look at the Broncos, you saw them expose a lot of that secondary. You saw them expose a lot of the Washington secondary, and you didn't see that against Tampa, who has a better secondary. You didn't see that against Green Bay. I think they don't trust Justin Fields' ability to read defenses and ability to read plays and where he's supposed to be, and really his confidence really against good to above average teams. But against bad teams, he looks good, and that's a positive. If you look bad against bad teams, that's very bad. If you look good, or if you look bad against good teams, I could work with it. We could develop this. So I'm not going to say they're going in the right direction because they just did what they needed to do. You know what I mean? But I don't, from what I saw the first 3 weeks, I kind of need to see what they do against better teams.
I mean, I just pulled it up. Y'all have a decent run. But the question I wanted to ask you is, because I'm in a similar boat. We talked about the draft picks in the chat and during the show. As a fan,
have all of them.
What do you want your team to do this year? Are you obviously compete, but do you want to end up 5-12? Like, what are you trying to do?
Who's competing? I'm not competing. I don't want to compete for sure. I want to see individual success, and that's it. As we can lose every game, if Justin Fields doesn't look bad in it, that's perfectly fine. If he looks,
you got Vikings, Raiders, Chargers, Saints, Panthers. It's not bad.
It's not bad, and it's going to be Justin Fields versus Bryce Young in week 10. So that's going to be probably the game of the week for a lot of people.
It's a Thursday night game, prime video.
That'll be a lot of fun. I think that'll be a lot of fun to really see. I mean, if Bryce Young shows out and shows that we should have took him number 1 overall, that's fine. But
for what it's worth, y'all got the Chargers, the Sunday night game, the Thursday night game against the Panthers, and y'all got a Monday night game versus the Vikings. So y'all got some TV games too.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Khalil Mack is going to absolutely dominate the Bears on that Sunday night. So I'm not looking forward to that one at all because we gave him away for a 4th round pick. So I'm not looking forward to that. And it's just, I think there's games that we're going to win there. I think this team just has a lot of holes right now. Both of our starting corners are banged up. So Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison this weekend are definitely going to. I heard Justin Jefferson might not play, but
they say they're gonna slow walk it.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens with that. But it's nonetheless, man. It's T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. I think it's going to be a crazy weekend.
And I appreciate you guys moving on from your defensive coordinator. We for some reason chose not to. Jack Del Rio is still around, as is Ron Rivera, which is ridiculous to me. But
listen, I'll take Ron back. I'll take 85 Bear. Ron Rivera.
You can have him. You can have him. You
gotta take Flus though. You gotta take Getsy and Flus.
We need to go in a different direction.
No,
I don't know.
You're taking my shit. That's just what it is. And we'll both agree not to touch anything that is belong to Kenny. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, we don't want.
I'm good. I'm good on that, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who I would want on the roster besides the D end in the corner.
Yeah, they don't got nothing
off a major injury.
Not a damn thing.
So you want CeeDee Lamb, you want Pollard.
I definitely don't want Pollard. Our running backs are way better than you. No, our receivers are better. Samuel. I'm taking Samuel over Gallup, and Jahan Dotson over Tony or Michael Gallup.
Gallup even playing?
And Brandon Cooks has been a bit of a disappointment, if I'm being honest. He's 1,000-yard receiver every year.
We haven't pushed the ball downfield. So, and actually, Dak missed him because he burnt Warner on a post corner route, and Dak threw the ball out of bounds. Kenny,
I don't want to hear it. I saw what Kittle did to y'all. I seen it with my eyes.
Disrespectfully.
Fix it.
Oh, no. I was disgusted.
Blow that man's knee out next time you see him.
Got to get him off.
Michael Parsons said he's taking it personal, in the words of great Coach Prime.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but I don't want to hear that. Because we did all of that talk, and then I know we might as well get to it now since we're here. We did all of that talking during the week. This is a statement game. This is a this is a big game. This is to see where we are. Blah blah blah. This, that, and the third, and then you come out flat. Like I don't understand. And to me, that's on Mike McCarthy, because how do you have a statement game, a game against a team that has beat you the last 3 times that you've played, that's knocked you out of the playoffs the last 2 years, and you come out flat, and you come out basically before you could blink, it's 14-zip. All right, so that's an indictment on Mike McCarthy. And then the other thing is that this offense that he supposedly said that was supposed to be his thing, and it was supposed to be so much better, and Dak was going to do a better job of taking care of the ball, and we were going to do a better job of running the ball and staying on the field, and not putting the defense on the field for so long. The defense was on the field the whole game.
Couldn't get off.
So I'm just disgusted all around, and couldn't get off the field. So I'm disgusted all the way around. And Mike McCarthy, you have no excuse now. If this offense doesn't get better, if this offense doesn't improve, and if you don't win in the playoffs, you out of here.
I would say there is one excuse to me, though, and it's me. Kenny. I am no Mike McCarthy fan. That man could choke on it for all I care. Once a Packer, always a Packer. I'm not a fan, but I've noticed one thing, and one thing to be clear is, you have that conversation about what was Dak before McCarthy and what was Dak after, and what has Dak been during, and a lot of it is just mediocre to me, and I think. I've seen talent around him with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and a bunch of Zeke in his prime and Pollard in his prime, and all these other guys come through the window. To Ray's point, even bringing in Cooks and bringing in all these guys who are big names. Michael Gallup, I think, on the Chiefs right now would be a number 1 wide receiver. And you have that conversation about what has Dak been able to do. And I saw somebody propose something. We're talking about the Bears in this offseason, and I saw it was a cool conversation. It was, if the Vikings were to move on from Kirk Cousins, would you be interested in trading away Dak to the Vikings and try to see, hey, what can Dak do with Jettas and Jordan Addison and Hawk? And then obviously maybe you rock out with Trey Lance, something like that. But I think a lot of this is on Dak, in my opinion. I think at the end of the day, quarterbacks make plays.
I don't disagree. And that's the thing. Like I said before, this offense is supposed to be Dak friendly, and Dak is supposed to,
But what is Dak friendly? Is Dak friendly just running the ball?
Honestly, I just think that right now, to me,
Jimmy G just threw a terrible interception.
I saw that.
Right back.
They're trying to protect. They're trying to protect him and keep how you try to save somebody from themselves. That's what I think that they're trying to do with him. Is that they're trying to vanilla this offense down to the point where he has 2 looks and then get rid of it, and trying to make it as simple as possible so that he limits his mistakes.
But
that's
in
not
year
a way to
8,
play football.
right? That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say. Like year
Yeah,
8,
it's not
can
the way to
you
play
really do that?
football. Yeah, and that's the point that like, and I think that was why, and we talked about this when the trade happened for Lance, is that I think that this was a direct shot at Dak to let you know, like, bro, you on notice that if you don't get the job done in the next year, like either we're going to give this kid Trey Lance a shot, or and we were talking about that. It could be where there's a deal that gets made, maybe because we got a quarterback draft class coming up, where we make a deal for one of those top 5 picks to take one of the quarterbacks.
Listen, Kenny,
So
I got 2 of them joints. All I need is Micah Parsons. That's all I'm saying.
Oh wow, it's gonna take.
I got 2 of them joints.
That ain't happening.
I got 2 of them joints. You can have both of them.
I'll give you one of my wide. I give you.
I don't want the wide receivers. I don't want the wide receivers. Do they come with bubble wrap?
Wide receiver help.
Do they come with bubble wrap though? Ray, what's the best ability?
Don't get hurt.
Ray, what's the best ability?
Availability.
CeeDee don't get hurt.
CeeDee Lamb was on my fantasy team the last 2 years. That boy gets hurt.
Mike, this is a good question for you because we had this conversation in the chat.
Oh no.
Kenny was talking crazy. I pulled the receipts.
Oh no.
Terry McLaurin versus CeeDee Lamb. How big of the gap is there between the two?
Oh, I like scary.
Who would
Terry,
you take?
Man. Who am I taking, or what's the gap?
Who would you take as a number one receiver
first, and then how big is the gap?
That's tough, Kenny. You my guy. I'm a rock with Kenny on that one. I gotta take CeeDee. I'm taking CeeDee. I don't think it's close. I think athletically he's better. I view Terry McLaurin like Amari Cooper. I think he's a better route runner. I think he does a lot of things well. I think he's great in a lot of different spaces. I just think Terry gets lost in it sometimes, and a big part of that is coaching. I think Terry's never really had a legitimate offensive coordinator. His quarterback went to North Carolina, so that, hey, shout out Sam Howell though. He's the only North Carolina quarterback to have success because Mitch Trubisky didn't. But I think.
Well, they're talking about this kid that's coming up now is supposed to be.
Man, they be saying
pretty
that.
good. I forgot the name.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the gap is like. The gap is, I would say, like if you did it in levels, like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 1, I think CeeDee's wide receiver 2, and then you have Terry who's like 2B, where it's really like if he had a better system, I think he would be wide receiver 1 on the brink of that. But I just think on a championship team, Terry McLaurin's your wide receiver 2. CeeDee could be that 1.
Whew.
I think CeeDee's the 1.
Definitely disagree, but I respect it.
I love Terry though. Terry's my guy.
That's all I said, Mike.
Terry's a great player.
I haven't seen CeeDee do that on any level really, but remains to be seen. When you talk wide receiver 1, like Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs.
I meant on a team, not wide receiver 1 on a
okay.
Yeah. Like on a championship team, I think CeeDee could be wide receiver 1. I think Terry,
no chance.
I think Terry's if he's not, then and Terry's definitely not.
I would agree. No chance. When I
don't even think DJ Moore is wide receiver 1 on a championship team. I don't.
No, I disagree. And actually, you know what? I disagree with all of this because if you put any of them in Kansas City, I think any of them could be the number 1 in Kansas City with Travis Kelce.
Wait, I think
they would be pretty good.
I think you could be the number 1 wide receiver in Kansas City.
I think all of them, for me personally, every receiver we've mentioned, I think would be the best receiver in San Francisco as well. So
that's crazy on Brandon Ayuk though. That's crazy on Brandon.
He's here today. He ain't. I need some sustained success, something.
I love Brandon Ayuk. There's just too many mouths, right? It's a good problem to have.
I mean, but that's the case for everybody. Like, there's a bunch of mouths in Washington.
It's not a case for Terry. It's not like where was Terry in that Bears game?
They didn't throw him the ball, but Logan Thomas was eating. We have 2 running back, really 3 running backs. Dotson's played well. Samuel's played well. Like,
but I'm talking. So look at what the Bears said, right? Oh, we got Cole Kmet, we got Khalil Herbert, Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney. Hey, fuck that. We gotta win. DJ Moore. That's wide receiver 1.
That's because this offense was catered to that, and there was a bunch of blown coverages. It wasn't like we were playing man coverage.
I didn't see any designed routes meant for Terry to be that number 1 option. That's all I'm watching.
He drew a couple pass interference penalties. Like, when we choose to target him, he can have big games.
I think so.
We just don't do that consistently enough.
Yeah, I think Terry's a 1. I just think
I think his mentality is such that he's not going to go to the front office and demand the ball.
I would.
Like, he's a team guy.
Yeah, and I hate that about him. I love that about him, but I hate it.
I think he at some point he got to step up. But he got his money, so I think he has a little more power.
I think that
he needs to go have a conversation with some people because he needs the ball in his hands more. In my opinion.
No, for sure. That's what I meant too. Is like CD is on a much higher scale. I think because a lot more people are watching Dallas Cowboy games, which that's no shot, but it's just they get to see that more. So I've seen more of CD. I try to watch as much as possible for Terry, especially because Terry is he's one of my favorite wide receivers. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, those guys are my guys. But I think I just can't judge Terry fully yet because of the lack of a supporting cast around him. I think they have solid players, but I just don't think any of them are really utilized correctly.
Good, Kenny.
So just to crystallize this. No, I'm saying just to crystallize this. I just looked at the stats through week 5. CeeDee Lamb is number 14 in receiving. Terry McLaurin is number 34. Just throwing that out there.
Right. And so here's what did I tell you last week, Kenny? If you looked up penalty yards, I guarantee you Terry's at the top in penalty yards. He gets so many PIs, but we miss him all the time. We miss him so much. Did we play all this year? We haven't played. We haven't played Dallas this year. But last year, Diggs could not guard Terry last year. He grabbed him all game, and they wouldn't call it. And he made up. He recovered on some plays because we didn't have a quarterback that can really throw the ball. But when we get a quarterback, I would love to revisit this conversation. But stats, he's going to outstat us up, and Dak puts up a bunch of useless stats, which is why. That's why I said, when you look at
talking about,
if you look at what they did this year or last night, and that's why I said, what did CD do in the first half? They had the exact same first half. Dak throws for a bunch of yards when it doesn't matter, and a lot of them go to CD historically. So statistically, he looks great.
When?
We're not going. Kenny, are you really going to act like Dak hasn't had a ton of games where they were down a lot and he threw for a bunch of yards?
You act like there's been a bunch of blowouts. Like that was this year. Last year wasn't no bunch of blowouts.
Right. And in the Arizona game and in the last game, they had like the same stats.
Okay, so all right, so let's look at last year, right?
Hey, I just want to say, shout out Coach Victor Bennett, bro.
1,359. CeeDee Lamb, 107 catches, 1,359 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin, 77 catches, 1,191 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So it sounds like excuses to me.
Okay, so again, you can cherry pick the stats, but Dak is notorious for racking up stats at the end of games. And guess who those are going to? So yeah, in hindsight, you're right. We're going to look at CeeDee Lamb and say, oh, he had this phenomenal statistical year. A lot of those stats came in blowouts because the team did what they do. And this year, he had 77 in the Giants, 40-0. You said there's not a bunch of blowouts. Like, there are blowouts. 30-10 for the Jets. A blowout.
They didn't even play. He didn't even play in the fourth quarter. He didn't play in the fourth quarter those games.
He had 11 for 140. He had 11 for 143.
And I said this year. I said this year I could get. There's been blowouts, but last year that wasn't the case, and he had 30 more catches than your guy.
This year or last year?
30.
He has 30 more this year?
No, last year.
Why do we talk about
109
last
and
year?
77.
And I just talked about
I'm
last year. I
saying,
keep
like,
telling you a
putting
bunch
this
of
into
useless stats.
context.
I'm talking about this year. CeeDee Lamb has had one good game this year, really. Let me see the Patriots game.
CeeDee Lamb, 14. One is 14th, one is 34th. Okay, that's a 20 spot difference. So there's 20
yards?
receivers
What are
right
you
now
talking about?
that are better statistically than Terry McLaurin. I'm looking at the stats overall.
And is that yards? Is that catches? What are you talking about?
That's everything. Yards, catches, receiving, yards, catches, and touchdowns.
So what, they have QBR for wide receivers now? What do you? There's no singular rating for wide receivers.
Oh, I'm looking at the ESPN. According to the ESPN stats, we have.
I'm pretty sure that's ranked by a category, but we don't have to. We don't have to do this. Like Terry McLaurin and CeeDee Lamb. Y'all want to take him? Y'all can have CeeDee Lamb. I've yet to see him make any real impact that contributed to winning. And when he does that, please let me know. Next game, we can get to London. What happened to Buffalo, Kenny? Coming off a great win at Miami, and Jacksonville did what we figured they could do, but don't do consistently enough.
Yeah, I'm done trying to figure out the Jaguars. Like, I can't track these guys. Every time I think I have an idea, I don't. And even Buffalo too. Like, I thought that they were going to be rolling. I thought coming off that Miami win that this was going to be the start of something. But I gotta kill Buffalo for one thing. Like, how do you have a game in London and you don't show up until Friday? Like, that's a major time difference.
Versus a team that's been there for
I understand that you. Yeah, right. I understand you want to keep your routine, but like, this is different. This changes your whole routine up. You should have been there no later than Wednesday, so that your bodies can acclimate to the time change, and you cannot be jet lagged. So I'm killing it. I'm down on Buffalo for that. But I just can't. Again, every time I think I know what's going on with the Jaguars, I don't. So, but give them what credit to them. Etienne had a huge game. So, like I said, they have the weapons to be a really good team. I just think that they get. So hopefully this is the sign that they're going to, get on the roll now. They got Indianapolis this week, which is a game that they should win. But then again, having said that, and Richardson's probably going to be out, although I'm sure Gardner Minshew is going to want to come back and show Jacksonville.
Just real quick,
he's going to want to show Jacksonville what they're missing, and and recreate Minshew mania. But they should win this game. So, but who knows? I can't figure this Jacksonville team out.
All right, and just for clarity, because I had to do some more research while Kenny was talking. That was the setup. I just needed him to talk so I could do some research. So I went back and looked at the stats. One, ESPN, it is simply filtered. CeeDee Lamb is number 14. It's only based on stats. I'm sorry, on yards catches. On yards. So this idea that he's such a much better receiver, it's only yards. Let's look at the yards. 358 for CeeDee Lamb to 261 for Terry McLaurin. Not even 100-yard difference between the two. CeeDee Lamb has more targets and more catches, but by 2. CeeDee Lamb has 27 catches. Terry McLaurin has 25. So this idea that they're just wildly apart. One's 14, one's 34. They're 2 catches apart on the year and like 90 yards, which in the offense makes a lot of sense considering Dak in that offense is a much better offense than what we have. So again, it's an issue of averages.
What was the reason for
We've already
last
addressed
year?
last year. I've already addressed last
Okay.
year. I'm talking about this year. This year,
Okay.
we see there's a 2-catch difference. The difference is CD's yard. He had one great game and a bunch of mediocre games. So just for clarity, had to get that straight. Back to the topic at hand. I agree. Buffalo, that's idiotic. Why you showed up on a Friday, Kenny? I don't know. You're a coach. That's just bad coaching. Josh Allen is who I thought he was. He continues to be inconsistent.
That's front office too, because that's all travel logistics. So I'm not all totally
I
putting it
thought
on
the
the coach.
coaches
I'm
set
putting it
that
on the
up.
front office too.
They set travel schedules. If they do, that's beyond. I don't know that. So
No,
if that's true, then I would put that on them too. If your general manager set that travel schedule or whoever, they screw that up.
I feel like it would be like
yeah, that's the
the
organization.
The PR
PR?
people would probably set that up.
No.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
Ray,
that's the
if the
organization.
conversation is Bill
But-
Belichick's the one scheduling flights, I don't.
I thought, yeah, I
Having
thought
said
they were
that,
the ones
though,
that ran.
the head coach is still going to. I think the head coach is still going to say, like, when we want to get there, and then it'll be
Right.
on the PR. To Mike's point, the PR people to
Right.
do the travel logistics.
But I do. I don't know. I
So
think
if
a
the
lot
coach
of things.
did say, like, I want to be there on Friday, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of things when it comes to that, though. Like to Kenny's point, I really do like this team, though, Ray. I love this Jacksonville team. I think they're coached well. I think it's a young squad. But when I look at them, I kind of look at the way I looked at the Cincinnati Bengals the year they went to the Super Bowl, and sometimes too many young guys is a problem. What made that Bengals team so good back then was that whole defense coached by Coach Joe. And I got a chance to talk with him and really just dissect that and really talk about like why the offseason additions were so important, where they were all veterans. They were all nobodies, but they all had veteran experience. They all had playoff experience. Most of those guys came from Dallas. Most of those guys came from New York. Most of those guys came from places to where they were contending for a championship every year, or at least having that mindset of contending for a championship. So I think that's really the main thing for me that Jacksonville is missing. They have a lot of young guns, and I like that. They have a couple guys who have probably the most experience on that. Christian Watson just made a hell of a catch, and he's going cool. Golly. Whatever, horse collar, but whatever. That's not a rule in the NFL. But it's at recess though. That would no, they called it. That's crazy. Wait, hold on, Kenny. I was going somewhere. But my point was, I think the most experience they have on this team is probably 5-6 year guys who have been here. I think they're really missing those key veterans who have been here, who have been in those moments. And I think once they add guys like that, I think they're really going to be in a place leadership wise to where they can succeed. But you can't expect all the young guys in the world to know where to be and know how to make big time plays. And I think Josh Allen, to Ray's point, is kind of starting to feel that same buzz because you got Gabe Davis out here wild, and that's great, but Stephon Diggs looks pissed, and Stephon Diggs looks like he doesn't want to be here anymore. And if Diggs doesn't want to be there, there's got to be a reason for it. So I think they're having a lot of issues, and I said it from day one. The second Brian Daboll leaves that organization, Diggs is going to get pissed, Allen is going to regress, and a lot of things were going to go wrong because I was just that big of a believer in Daboll, and he went to a much worse situation than Bills Mafia. So, I mean, praying for both of them.
Yeah,
exactly
for sure. And I never saw the big play.
Giants coach, that's for sure.
100%.
Why is that considered a horse collar? Like he spun him around. I didn't feel like he pulled him down from behind.
I just felt like you grabbed bro by the back of his neck.
You can't get on the inside of the back. Yeah, you can't get that back of the jersey. That's the whole word.
I thought he grabbed the jersey, not the shoulder pads, but maybe I missed it.
I feel like if you grab the top of the whole upper body, I think it's a problem. It's kind of like pulling someone back, and that's
that's how T.O.
Listen,
got
I
hurt.
need a Romeo Dobbs touchdown anyway, so I don't care. Me personally,
I need Devontae Adams to do anything.
You don't need that. You don't need that. I'm playing against Romeo Dobbs, so he could chill out.
Oh, I already won this week. I just made a bet. That's all me.
The ball to A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Great job. Taking the ball out of Jordan Love's hand.
I'm losing right now. I need Devontae to get loose.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's keep it going to another game.
And the other spicy.
What's up?
No, I'm saying Jair Alexander was talking real spicy. I was listening to the pregame, and he was saying that this going to give me an opportunity to show how much I was dominating Devontae in practice and this, that, and the third. I was like, oh,
He ain't lying.
okay.
Jair is the only guy in the Packers organization other than Aaron Rodgers that I've truly respected over the years. Like, he talks a lot of shit and it pisses you off because he's right and he backs it up too. And that's the crazy part. Like, Jair is a solid corner. And I watched a lot of him in high school when I was playing ball. I still watch a lot of him when I'm getting ready for my games, trying to figure out how he goes about things. And man, he's a special dude. I just wish he talked less because he makes me very sad to be a Bears fan, even more sad than I already am. So it's always tough.
Green Bay coming away with a field goal here is a big deal. They needed to punch that in my opinion. But
I mean, that's 13 points now or 10 points unanswered.
Yeah, but that play should have. You want to score a touchdown there, but we'll see. We will definitely see. Let's get to this game. Saints Patriots. Mike, how much longer do you give Bill Belichick? Like, does he have a window to turn it around? Is it we're waiting? I missed on Mac. Give me some time to get a new quarterback. Like, if you are Robert Kraft, you spent the money, you've watched Tom Brady go win a Super Bowl. He's now retired. His numbers retired. What is the future if you're Robert Kraft, and is Bill Belichick the leader for that future, in your opinion?
Well, first I'd go get a massage because I think that just helps everybody clear their mind. I'm Robert Kraft. Just clear my head. Just got to get some things out. Got some tension loose. Maybe see Deshaun in there, make a quarterback trade. I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, I think what version of Bill that needs to depart is what you need to see. I think Bill Belichick, the coach, is still an amazing coach. I will never doubt that. A man who creates a culture and Brady creates a legacy. I don't know if Victor Bennett's still listening in the chat or anywhere there, but we were talking about that last night in the Touchdown Crew chat, talking about, what hatched first, chicken or the egg, whatever. Is it Bill? Is it Tom? I believe that, Bill created that culture, but Tom executed it beautifully. And the problem with me with Bill is the GM part. You are not hitting on just quarterbacks. You are not hitting on anything. These guys, there's nobody in their organization right now that they've drafted that I really look at and I go, that kid's great. I look at Christian Gonzalez. Hey, I love Christian Gonzalez. Oh, cool. Tore his ACL. He's gone. So, you know what I mean? Like, he's been choking the way Ray's choking right now when it comes to drafting. It's just really unfortunate. Don't lose us, Ray. We're with you, brother. But I think, you got to take a step back and bring in a real GM to make decisions. And I think maybe that's why Bill doesn't want to give that up, because maybe one of the decisions is Bill's outdated. You know what I mean? And I don't want to see that happen, but I think you got to put together a good roster, man. How long has it been, Ray, since Brady left? It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
So, dude, at some point, bro, like, you could sit here, Kenny, and tell me, and I'm not saying you are, but like a Patriot fan can sit here and tell me, oh, Mac is the reason, but the rest of this roster doesn't look good either. You know what I mean? Like, I like Stevenson. I like him a lot. But outside of that, offensively, what do we got going on? You know what I mean? Like, they don't have wide receivers. They don't have homegrown wide receivers. They're tight end, Hunter Henry. 0 yards and 0 receptions is crazy. Like, you're tight end one, bro. Like, that's what it is on a team without wide receivers. We see what other guys like Travis Kelce can do when they have no wide receivers around them. And then I know that's, we're talking about CD and Terry. Talk about Henry and Kelce's length apart is miles. But, at the same time, it's the same conversation of I need you to do something, bro. And I can't blame all of this just on Mac. Like, the whole roster. Mac is shit. Don't get it twisted. But the whole thing is just horrible. And I think it's been 4 years since Brady left. I would like to think you're heading in the right direction, and you're just not.
Interesting. No, I definitely have concerns about the direction. Wow, that was a great cut. Is that Josh Jacobs? That was on Jerry Alexander. He left him in the hole. But no, I think it'll be something to see as far as what they do. I think there's a lot of grace because I don't know that there's better out there. I think that's the other part is if I go get rid of Belichick, then what?
Right.
So I think there's that. I think it's Mac Jones. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like,
yeah,
I see Jacoby Myers now in Vegas. He looks like a totally different person.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar's had some success. There's been quite a few players,
absolutely,
that have left New England, and all of a sudden they actually look like they can play.
Right.
And that's not typically how it used to go. It used to be the other way around.
Well, can I throw something to you?
Fair, they didn't draft Aguilar, though, to be fair. They just signed him as free agent.
That is fair. But I also want to throw in
your point, though.
You got Devontae Adams next to you, too. It makes things a hell of a lot easier. You know what I mean? You got a veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo who's already solidified. You know, it makes things a lot easier. You know, when you're a rookie quarterback and you got nothing around you and you got other guys who are rookies as well, it's a lot harder, I feel like, to build something. And when you have, like you said, why does Jacoby look great tonight? Because everybody's worried about Devontae Adams, and especially in a game like this. So it's like that's really the conversation where you need to start to put a roster together to either disguise people or to just put so many points on the board it doesn't matter. I mean, you talk about earlier, you know, we look at Ray really quick. Do you know wide receiver 3 on the San Francisco 49ers?
No.
Me neither. And that's okay because you got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. I don't care who wide receiver 3 is. Now, I don't know wide receiver 3 on the Patriots, but I also don't know wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1 or anybody else on that offensive line. And that's really
N'Keal Harry was there.
N'Keal Harry was a bear, and he was also awful. And he's somebody you want to talk about success somewhere else. He had the furthest thing from success with the Chicago Bears. That man can go in a dumpster fire right now, and I would not help him.
I'll give you that.
N'Keal Harry. Yeah, you know what N'Keal Harry helped me do, Ray? He helped me get the number 1 overall pick. That's what N'Keal Harry helped me do. Thank you, N'Keal.
Pharaoh Brown, Kendrick Bourne, and Devontae Parker. It's tough.
Devontae Parker, too. Again, we talk about it. We and you just talked about it. When he was with a very small sample size, you're with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, he looked great because there's other guys around him. When it's just him, you're bringing in a bunch of 3s to play 1s. And when you're a 3 and you're playing the 1, you look awful. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, we talked about last year for the Chicago Bears, wide receiver 1, Chase Claypool. Whew.
That's offense.
That shit was ugly. I
mean, he didn't look great in Denver either.
He didn't look great anywhere.
Yeah,
he didn't look great anywhere.
Probably going to be on his way out soon. Unless that he can figure it out where he's at.
Right. Mike McDaniel, I think, will figure that. Oh, there's your boy.
There's Devontae. About time.
About time. God dog.
A touchdown here would be great, Devontae. Talk about it. Yeah, so we're good there. Let's get to let's get to the game that everybody cares about. Dallas, San Fran. Kenny,
fuck Dallas.
I just want to say this. You have a blowout, embarrassing loss, San Francisco, and you have a loss to the Arizona Cardinals and Josh Dobbs. I would appreciate if going forward, you refrain from having anything negative to say about the Washington Commanders or their players. What I watched last night was embarrassing. Like, I was excited for the game. I picked y'all to win. Like, I actually thought, like, it was going to be a competitive game. And that was a mess. The NFC East as a whole does not look like it did last year, which isn't terribly surprising. We expected some drop off, but between a ranking, I saw the Giants being the worst team in the league. All y'all told me Washington was going to be the worst team in our division. And what I've seen of Dallas this year, who's beaten a total of nobody, like y'all have been one of the least impressive teams this year. You blew out the Giants. Congratulations. You beat the Jets. Congratulations. The game after they lost Aaron Rodgers. And then you beat the Patriots. And you got beat by the Cardinals and dominated by the 49ers.
Ray, really quick. Do you think they could beat the Jets that you see right now? If you played them again, but now Zach Wilson looks a little better.
The way Zach Wilson has played the last 2 weeks, I think it's a tough game. Now, if Micah Parsons can wreck the game like he's capable, that's different. Like, he can change that entire game. But as it stands, I would think it could be difficult for Dallas. I just don't think they're nearly as good as I thought they would be. The offense, I don't understand it. I think there's a lot more tape on Parsons. And that Diggs loss may be bigger than we were giving it much credit for, even though I thought it was big at the time. So I don't know what's going on with Dallas, but shout out to San Fran and Brock Purdy for putting on a heck of a performance with little interaction or contribution from Christian McCaffrey. Even a fumble, God knows what happens if he doesn't fumble heading into the end zone, basically. So, Kenny, please feel free to share on how you feel about this Dallas Cowboy team, but I suggest humility as a suggestion. Devontae Adams almost got about it. That's all you got?
We already talked about it earlier. I'll discuss it. I'm turning game off in the third quarter. No. I was just saying, I can reiterate what I said, but let me ask you a question, Mike. So we had this debate in the chat. Which loss is more and which loss is worse? Washington losing to Chicago or San Francisco? Or Dallas losing to San Francisco?
Dallas.
And that wasn't even the discussion. So it was Dallas, Arizona, because they hadn't even played yet.
Dallas. It's Dallas, no matter what. At the end of the day, like Sam Howell still gave me 388 yards in that game. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, that team isn't ready.
Oh, that's why you happy that he gave you fantasy points. But I don't have Sam which Howell. Loss is worse.
No, I don't have Sam Howell in fantasy. God, I'm not a fool. I have Brock Purdy. Thank you. And Joe Shiesty's on the back burner. I'm waiting for that to get figured out. But you know, with that though, being real, Sam Howell has still been very productive. And in respectfully, Ray, I don't think you would disagree. In the window that the Commanders are currently in, I think it's okay to lose. Like I said, it's kind of in this situation where I want to see personal growth. I want to see, is this QB1 or do I need to draft a quarterback? I want to see more from Terry McLaurin, see him continue to live up to that contract, which I think he's done. You know, Brian Robinson got shot multiple times. Here he is, still running people over. Love to see it. You know, Chase Young, is he still the same version that we know he can be? Figuring that out. That's why I told Ray earlier I don't want him in Chicago because Lonzo Ball has taken up all the knee therapy appointments. But, you know, I think, man, Kenny, respectfully, you my brother. You my guy. It's year 9 of Dak Prescott. This is year 9 and year 500 for Mike McCarthy as a coach in the NFL. And year 550 for Jerry Jones as the owner of this team, and nothing really to show for it in the last 30 plus years. And I think that's really the conversation I'm having is like, man, bro, Micah Parsons is a generational talent. This defense looks like one of the best defenses. You bring in all the weapons in the world and we're losing. That's a big red flag. And it's like, that's, you know what I mean? Like if that was the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, we're having a real conversation about what's going on in KC. You know what I mean? Like we did that to KC earlier in the year. So I want to keep that same energy and say like, man, you can't be losing those games this early in the year, man, because it's going to come down to the wire.
I do agree.
Okay.
I do agree.
Well, my point. Well, I understand. Well, here's what I'll say.
I think the part that can you forget is Washington was projected to be like a bottom 25 team. Like we weren't actually supposed to be good by anybody's standard.
I think it's like Kenny, does this one make sense? I'm thinking of it like this.
That was over on the season. That's
right. But what I'm thinking of is like
rather than losing to a team that's undefeated.
Compare it to the Vikings and the Bears. You know, the Vikings are 1-3, and then you have the Bears who are 1-4. And the Vikings, who have Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, all these different pieces, a new head coach, just made the playoffs last year. They have high hopes. The Bears, hey man, we're just hanging out. We're just hanging out. We're just figuring out some things, but we have the same record. And it's like when you have such higher expectations and you're not meeting those, is really disappointing. Now, when you have average expectations to below average expectations and you're kind of just doing a little bit better than you thought, I think you're kind of in a better place. So for me, it's like it's the same with Minnesota. Like, hey man, time's ticking on both Dak and Kirk. Time's ticking on that whole regime, and you're running out of time and excuses, I think.
Thank you, Mike. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I was disgusted with the game. I turned it off in the third quarter because I had seen enough. I think there was a few things that bothered me. One was the defensive scheme. Like, why is Micah Parsons lining up on left tackle going up against Trent Williams? Like, that makes no sense. Why would you put him? You want to take advantage of the best matchup. You see, Bosa is going against the right tackle the whole game. Like, you got to create matchups that's going to give you an advantage. And so for Michael Parsons to be going up against Trent Williams for the whole game, that just made no sense. The other thing is that, well, the only silver lining of the thing that I kind of give a slight pass to is that this was the first game that our starting offensive line played together. So I think that may be part of the reason why the offense hasn't been in the rhythm that it should be, or hasn't been as productive as it could be. So I'm gonna give a slight pass to that, but still, having said that, I still think that we don't offensively, we don't push the ball downfield enough. Um, and we don't use all of our weapons. Like, I don't think, and it was unfortunate that Turpin got hurt, but he's a real weapon that I think we need to utilize more. Utilize his speed as well as Brandon Cooks' speed. Like, we really have not taken advantage of those two guys, and I think that's partly due to Mike McCarthy's conservative play calling. Like, at some point, he's going to have to open up this offense, and while we do want to have balance, we still got to have some explosive plays to keep defenses honest. So I think that last night was everything was underneath. We only took one shot down the field, and we missed on the one shot that we took down the field. So I just think that that was part of it. And then the defense was on the field for so much because we couldn't sustain the drive. So I don't think the defense was as bad as they looked. I think it was more so a product of being on the field for most of the game. So while I'm disappointed, while I'm mad, I'm disgusted at how this game turned out, it's still early in the season, and I still think that we are a good team. I still think that we're going to have something to say in the NFC, but we are, in terms of classes, we on that second tier with the Detroit Lions, and right now probably the Detroit Lions are better than us. So right now, I think we're probably the fourth best team in the NFC.
You have fourth best with a loss to the Cardinals and that loss to the Niners.
Yeah, I'm not putting Tampa Bay over us. I think we're better than Tampa Bay.
Okay. I ain't gonna fight you on it. I will let that one go, and I did want to talk about one other game in particular, which is obviously important to us as a division rival. Philadelphia. Are you concerned that their offense hasn't looked great and they're still undefeated, and it seems like they can get better? And to me, it kind of seems like they're starting to figure it out. Or do you think they kind of are what they are, and San Francisco is still the preeminently better team?
I think they're going to get better. Again, I think that it's still early in the season, and teams are still haven't hit their stride just yet. Like, I think that really this is the first quarter. If you're thinking about it, you try to, they say that teams break these seasons up into fourths. So we're basically coming across, that first fourth of the season. This is week 5, so we just finished that first fourth of the season. So I think that while they haven't hit their stride yet, I think that there's another level that they can get to. But I will say that I am concerned about them offensively in terms of the running game. I think that losing Miles Sanders I think we've seen that has taken a toll. Because I don't think running the ball. I don't think they have been as effective as they were last year. I like Gainwell, but I don't think he has been who they thought that he was going to be. He hasn't been as productive as they thought that he was going to be. So I do think that they will improve, but I think that the running game is going to be a concern all year.
Yeah, I've seen Swift at times look good. I feel like there's been I don't know if the quarterbacks kind of met together and decided, hey, we're not going to run less. But there seems to be like quarterbacks just want to run less. Even the Justin Fields, the Lamar Jacksons, even Dak, who's mobile. A lot of these mobile quarterbacks seemingly are running a lot more as a need versus a want, outside of Anthony Richardson, who keeps getting hurt. So I'll be curious to know how that plays out. I think I also believe that 4th and 1 play is going to come up on a big stage, and I'll be curious to know the reception of it because it's really annoying as a fan, but it's almost unstoppable for the Eagles. And so I'll be very curious.
Saying that it's they're saying it's going to be a rule. They're talking about
they're going to this year or over the summer. Because I saw something they were going to talk about.
I think I read that this is going to be yeah. Well, I think they did talk about it over the summer and they ruled against it, but I think it's going to come up again.
No, I definitely think it will find its way back because I think in the angle I saw that they were talking about was the safety issue. And when they can hide behind safety, then you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah. So
player safety can get anything passed.
But what is the safety issue? I'm not following.
They're trying to do research that based on the submarine, the diving, the collisions. It's almost like on kickoffs with those kind of collisions that close, the pushing.
Gotcha.
The number of injuries, concussions, all of those factors into that play. If it's deemed to be unsafe, then that's where they think they said the change will come from.
Gotcha.
Just quick update for you guys. We are in the 4th quarter. The Raiders are up 17-13. Green Bay is driving. Obviously, Green Bay's had a couple, at least one really historic come from behind victory. So definitely capable of that. So we'll definitely keep you posted up until that point. The other question that I have for you is with the Vikings. I know we talked about them a little bit today. If you're Minnesota, was the Kirk Cousins experiment fully guaranteed a success? And 2, where do you see or what do you see happening with Kirk Cousins going forward?
Heck no, it wasn't no success. Did they even win a playoff game?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So how is it a success? You give the guy a fully guaranteed contract and he can't even get you a playoff win? So yeah, I don't think it's a success at all. And I think that again, that's going to be one of those teams. We talk about. I was talking about Dallas, perhaps. Making a deal to draft one of these quarterbacks. I think that Minnesota is definitely going to be in the running and try to get one of these college quarterbacks, because I think that experiment with Kirk Cousins is over, because he is who he is. Like, good quarterback. I think, honestly, be honest with you, and Mike made a great point about maybe with Dak, perhaps maybe they make a deal for Dak. But to me, Dak and him are pretty much the same guy. Like, good quarterbacks, but they're not going to be the team. They're not going to be the reason why you win games. Like you got to win almost in spite of them, as opposed to because of them. You know what I mean?
So if you're the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers potentially coming back, Zach Wilson seemingly playing a little better, and Kirk Cousins potentially being available, what would you say is the ideal fit? I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. What was your question?
If you're the Jets, you have Rodgers coming back, Zach Wilson or Kirk Cousins available, or Dak, who would you target?
I think the Jets are married to, for lack of a better term, they're married to Aaron Rodgers. I think they want to see this thing do, especially since they only got like what 2 plays from the guy.
Jordan Love, another bad
and
interception.
And having said that, I think that also that we're starting to see Zach Wilson play better. So they may just see what they have with him, as opposed to trying to go after one of the young quarterbacks. And I did look it up. Kirk Cousins won one playoff game for the Vikings, so we give him one playoff game.
Okay.
He has one win, but even still, like a fully guaranteed contract that gets you one win, one playoff win, that still ain't cutting it. So, but anyway, yeah, I think that the Jets is going to do one or two things. One, they're going to see if Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to come back, and if he comes back, they are going to give him the opportunity to be the starter. And if not, I think that they are and getting encouraged by what they're seeing from Zach Wilson. And the only way that I could see them making a deal is if they know that Aaron Rodgers is, for whatever reason, maybe unless Aaron Rodgers decides that he's not going to go through the rehab process and come back, which he has already said that he's going to. But unless he changes his mind and just says, I'm done, that's the only way that I can see them perhaps getting into this quarterback sweepstakes for these young college quarterbacks.
Okay. Well, decisions will have, will have to be made. I guess another question that I will ask, since we talk about quarterbacks, is what do you envision the market being for Josh Dobbs in this offseason? Has he done enough to prove he should be a starter in this league? Do you think this is just a nice run? They're probably not going to win a lot of games. So what do you think his future is?
I think he's just giving himself an opportunity to get a backup job with another team. If not back with the Cardinals, because he's pretty much almost on his way out of the league. So I think he's proven that he can be a capable backup, and I think he'll get another opportunity to be a backup in this league, but I don't think he's going to get an opportunity to be a starter.
Okay. I don't disagree. Unfortunately, I think he's going to come up a little short, but I think he's definitely, like you said, I think he'll be able to stay around. Him, Geno, I think they've added quite a few years to their careers with the way that they've been playing in the last year or two. All right. Well, I won't hold you. We don't need to stay late just to stay late. I felt we covered most of the big games. Big fight this weekend. Tim Tszyu will be in action. For those of you who are interested on, I believe it's Showtime. That fight is this weekend. I'm not sure who's on the undercards off the top of my head. I'm going to see if I can pull it up really quickly. Brian Mendoza, Tim Tszyu. I do not see undercards on this, but it is this Saturday at 10:30. So it looks like it might not be that many undercards if it's starting late. But should be a good fight. Tim Tszyu, undefeated, should be a contender for the titles at 154 with Charlo and everything shaken out. So tap in if you haven't, and we will definitely be in more talks on Thursday with another Thursday night game. Coach, do you have anything for the people before we get up out of here?
Nah, man.
Okay.
Just keep rocking with us. Keep subscribing. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Facebook page, and all that good stuff. We're trying to give you the best and more content.
Absolutely. Oh, that brings me to what was the other question I just had? I'm losing it, and I think it's gone. It was another sports question I wanted to ask. Oh, Jimmy, down goes Jimmy on third down. Big stop by Green Bay. They're on third down to cause LA to punt. Oh, I'm sorry, Las Vegas to punt it back. So cool, man. Coach, have a blast this week. Hopefully practice goes well. We would definitely catch up with everybody here. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. As Coach said, we appreciate all the support. Mike, thanks for coming on. It's been a blast. Washington, let's figure it out. Let's fire a D coordinator, and let's have a fresh start. With that being said, we are